All right, all. Welcome back in to another episode to the Show Baseball Podcast. It is February 18th, and I am down at a hotel down in Fort Myers, Florida for spring training. It is officially here. I'm a little sunburnt, got a little red on the nose. It is what it is. As much sunscreen as I could. But yeah, today's episode, I do have Miami Marlins pitcher Lake Bachar on the show. Lake was a late pickup by the Miami Marlins in 2024, coming over from the San Diego Padres, and he actually put up some good numbers in the Marlins bullpen to end the season. So he's going to be a key figure out of their bullpen as we go into the 25 year. Before I go any further, I want to stop you guys. I need all of you out there, however you're listening to this, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you're watching me on YouTube right now. Please, please, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, do anything you can to help me out. It means the world to us over here. Obviously, we're going to keep bringing you interviews all along the year throughout the baseball season. But without further ado, I had a pleasure talking with Lake. Obviously, he's a guy that didn't make his MLB debut until he was 29 years of age there for Miami last season. He actually struck out the side in his first ever MLB appearance in the majors. So he also struck out Shohei Ohtani. So, I mean, you can Google his name, and that's one of the first things that pops up. You're obviously doing something right. So, yeah, like I said, without further ado, let's get you on to the interview with Lake Bachar. All right, guys. I am joined by Lake Bachar of the Miami Marlins organization. And Lake, I know we were just kind of talking off air a little bit. I know you're down at the complex. But I do want to ask you, off season's over. We're now in the thick of things. But how did the off season go for you?
It went really well. Had a good plan and executed whatever I needed to do, and it went really well.
And I guess as far as, maybe if you were tweaking things, working on things, or if the organization gave you some things they wanted to work on, I guess, what did that look like this offseason?
Yeah, I think it was really expanding my repertoire a little bit. Being a 3-pitch guy last year, kind of adding and subtracting some pitches to kind of be able to have more weapons and to be able to use them in different ways.
And it was this was your first off season in a different org, just over the 2024 season. Obviously, changing orgs, but for you in the off season with Miami, how did that go for you? Like, I guess, was it different at all, as in regards to like what the communication wise, or just like how was that different than before?
Yeah, so I mean, you've seen that, like, basically we have a whole new staff and everything. So that was a lot of just like just the simple get to kind of know you and all that stuff. But there was a lot of communication. They're trying to get to know us. They've done their research. They know what we've done in the past and like where to go in the future. They're very communicative, very direct and easy to work with.
So, what obviously with you spending so many years in the Padres organization, and obviously getting familiar with coaches and teammates and development staff and everything, kind of like we were just talking about. But now, like with a new set of teammates, new set of coaches, and everything like that, how long does that take a player to get fully comfortable in the new setting?
I think everyone takes it a little bit differently, like individually. You really have to be kind of open and just ask questions, because what makes sense to someone else won't make sense to me. So you just kind of have to pick their brains, ask why, like being able to completely understand why you're doing something makes it so much easier and doable to do, like, in a timely fashion.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too to I have a lot of guys on this show that have been traded mid-season, they've been DFA'd and then claimed, they've been released, signed, whatever it is, and I always feel like it's kind of a whirlwind, and I feel like some people probably don't realize everything that goes into you changing organizations and changing where you live and everything. And for you, for that experience this year, like, what was that like? Did you have a crazy experience where you're just kind of like, all right, like, I just found out here's my new team. I got to be here by Thursday of this week, and I only have 2 days to pack my stuff up. I guess what was your experience like?
Yeah, I mean that like going from last year, being with one org for like 8, 9 years, and being in the situation where I got DFA'd and I had a possibility of having another team pick me up. I mean, at that point, I was because we can't go to the field or anything. You're just kind of at home. I was packing up a little bit and everything, and then yeah, you get the call, and you basically have to grab all your stuff, pack it in your car, and then go off on a whole new adventure. And being in one place so long, like that was my first time really um, going into another pasture, and so it was exciting and nerve wracking a little bit just to see how kind of everything is run completely different and all that stuff, and you get different insights and all that. So again, like I just kept my mind open. I was just going to go along with the flow, and just kind of keeping me along with whatever else I was going, like all the information I was going to be getting.
Well, I do want to kind of talk about something that was probably a little more enjoyable for you in 2024. And that was obviously making, getting up to the majors and, seeing success there in your debut and everything. Can you just, I know you've probably talked about it quite a few times. I don't know if, you've been on other, podcasts or had other media probably asking you about your debut a thousand times, but for you now, looking back on it, now that you've had some time to decompress after it, what was that like for you, and just being up there and just making your MLB debut?
It was, I'm always a guy I'm more nervous the farther away out it is. As the time kind of comes, like when the time gets shortened and you're kind of like thrown into it. I mean, it felt really calm for me just to be out there. It's somewhere where I've always believed I could be, and it felt really good to be out there and to be able to compete with the best.
Yeah, and I actually was doing some digging, and I think one of the first things that pops up when you type in your name on Google is you striking out Shohei Ohtani, which has to be kind of cool. I feel like that is kind of like a cool humble brag of like, yeah, you just throw this guy's name into Google search and it's you striking out Shohei. But that aside, your first career strikeout also came and you struck out the side in the big leagues. Were you a little surprised by yourself when you got in the dugout and you're like, holy cow, I just did that? Or was that something you're like, I was one, like you, that was like your whole goal all along? Like that's how you thought it was going to go? Or was that a little surprise to you?
It was a little surprising. It's obviously always the goal to go out there, throw your best stuff, get them to swing and miss. Obviously, it doesn't always happen, but I think I was a little bit surprised, I guess, when I got there, and I remember getting the first one, and I was like, you know what? I was like, all right, just I don't need to do anything more. I don't need to be anything better. Just kind of continue to keep throwing my best stuff, but don't try to make your best stuff better.
So I know that obviously every player's goal is to make it to the big leagues. And, now you've accomplished that goal. You were officially a major leaguer, you've made your debut and everything. What is like, do you have a next goal like for yourself?
For me personally, I mean, it's just to kind of prove that I can kind of stick. Like it's everyone's dream to get there, but it's I feel like it's a dream to stay there. So that's always been a goal of mine, is once I get there to stay. Always working towards that.
So I've had quite a few guys on the show this offseason, ranging from 20-year-old top prospects all the way to 32-year-old journeyman pitchers around the league. So I've kind of seen a lot of different avenues and I guess ways that not every player is the same story on how they got there. There's always like a little difference, even if you're pretty similar to somebody else. But for you that didn't make your debut until you were 29 years old, what would you say to the players that maybe are the journeyman minor leaguers that have been around for 7, 8 years and they still haven't made their debut? Like, what kind of advice would you give to a player like that?
Don't give up on yourself. Continue to improve in anything that you can. I've worked on like run game and like the way I hold the ball when there's guys on base, up to developing pitches. And I just say like never stop improving. There's always something you can try. Be open minded. You're gonna be thrown stuff that may not be comfortable right away. You never know until you know. So it's always something you can work on. Is just try stuff because you just don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's having the support system too. My wife, my family, just always there for me because it does get long. Those long, like I felt stuck for a long time. I felt like I was improving, but when you're not moving up or anything, it's like, well, did I actually improve? So you just have to win those little victories, and just keep working hard because there's can't leave any regrets. That was the one thing I didn't want to be is like, oh, I could have done this or I could have all those coulda, shoulda stuff is you just want to leave those in the past and just do it. Like today is today. All you can work for is today.
Was there ever a time along the journey where you may have doubted yourself or you're just like, what if this isn't for me? Like, did you ever have any of those thoughts come across over your minor league career?
Yeah, definitely. There was plenty of times where I let those thoughts kind of creep in. It's not the best, but I was always able to kind of pull myself out or have a family member, my support system, my wife kind of help me pull myself out of that. It's hard being positive all the time when you feel like you're not gaining any traction. But I feel like that has also helped my um, kind of just like where I'm at today, like my point of view, my perspective, and all that is much different going through all that stuff. So I feel like you can always learn and you can always grow.
So I've had a couple guys too that either became fathers this off season or they became a new dad during the past season or whatever it is, or very recently, like yourself. And obviously it kind of changes something, like whether it's perspective or just like why you play the game or whatever it is. And with you being a relatively new father, how did that change playing baseball for you? Like, was it a perspective thing, or I guess what changed for you?
Yeah. I mean, having my son, it's I want him to be like I want to set an example for him. Um, I didn't want to get this far and like take myself out of the game mentally or physically. I just want him to like I want to show him through my actions that no matter what you want to do or who you want to be, if you put everything into it, that your dreams can come true.
Yeah, and I think that's well said because I've had a few new dads on the show this off season, and they kind of all have echoed kind of the same thing for you. It's just like, I want to, be a good example. And obviously, like, I play the game now for different reasons than I did before, like where it's like, if I have a 0 for 4 day or I let up 3 runs or 4 runs or whatever it is, like, I'm not going to take it with me off the field, like, because I get to go home and see my son or see my daughter and they're smiling at me, and I can't I can't take that baggage with me
Yeah.
off the field because it kind of changes once you see their face. It's like, I can't be mad anymore.
Yeah.
So I got some random questions here. I know I've kind of been all over the board, but
No, you're good.
I want to ask about the hair. So how long have you been rocking the lettuce?
So it was Tommy John year in 21. I've always wanted to grow out my hair, but I've always gotten to the awkward stage. I was like, all right, I'll just cut it. That was just like a mental thing to me. It's like I'm just gonna grow it out. So I grew it out in 21. I didn't get a haircut for 2 years, and then now I just get a haircut once a year.
Wow. So you think is that going to be something you keep probably for the rest of your career?
Yeah, I enjoy having long hair. I've yeah, I mean, I feel like that's something that's just kind of who I am now. I just enjoy having long hair. Yeah.
Yeah, I do a little research before I do these things. Obviously, you gotta look at least a little bit of the past. And I feel like I just watched an interview that you did about you being a kicker back in your college days,
Yeah.
and your hair was like, I don't even know how to describe it. It wasn't long. It wasn't long yet when you did it. I think it was kind of like, if I had to like describe, it's like I used to have like the longer like Bieber hair. I don't know what it was,
Yep. Yeah.
but then I looked at your photos now and I'm like, there's like this guy went a complete change. Do you know like what sparked it?
Long hair.
Yeah, like what? Because like I feel like all of us, like I'm like that with my facial hair sometimes. Like I'll grow a stash. I had one. I went on my honeymoon a couple weeks ago, and I just had a stash. I shaved everything, and I'm
Yeah.
like, that's what I want my thing to do. Tried to keep it after I came back. It just got too itchy, and I'm just like, I can't keep up with it. Like, when did you finally like, I gotta like, I'm doing this thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just because I had the time and I could just wear hats all the time. I've always wanted to grow out my hair. If I didn't have good hair, and if it was just like not something I really wanted, at least I knew that I tried and that I saw what it was. And then when it started growing out, it started getting curly and stuff. I was like, okay, I guess I can rock this. So
Yeah, you're a lot different than a lot of the general population that that have 9 to 5 jobs that can't wear a hat to the office, and they're just like, it's. I tried growing it out a little bit, just didn't work out for me because I can't wear hats every day. But kudos to you. I always appreciate some lettuce on the mound. So I have a few more questions left before we'll let you slide. Obviously, it's your first spring training. This I guess now, actually, now that we're into February, but it's your first spring training with the Miami Marlins. What kind of things are you looking forward to as obviously the games kick around, and I guess you really do get in the thick of things. Like, what are some things you're looking forward to as now with the Marlins?
honestly, just like picking the brains of this staff. We have a young, hungry group, very analytical, kind of that more new school. I've been enjoying it, kind of getting quick feedback, learning new things. I'm just excited to like just learn more from these guys.
Yeah, and that's are you a guy are you into the analytical side of the game, or are you one of the more old school guys?
I think a good mix of both. I've always
Okay.
enjoyed a little bit of mix of both. I like I like parts of each one.
So I guess this is something that I see a lot, and especially now that like, obviously like social media and yeah, I don't know if you're big on like Twitter X, or I even seen it some on Instagram as well, but a lot of fans are getting more into the, I guess, the analytical side now that there's more data becoming available to the casual fan nowadays. Like, obviously you have like StatCast and all the different websites that you can kind of look at to see like how somebody is really doing like under the hood. That's more accessible to the fan now. For you, like what things define your success? Because I obviously I feel like as of 10 years ago, it was a lot of like, oh, what was his ERA? How many wins did he get? Like, what was his? How many guys did he strike out? And I feel like that doesn't really paint a full picture in 2025. So for you, what stats are you looking at to define if your season was successful or not?
Stats wise, I mean, for me personally, I really enjoy going out there and just helping the team win. Um, there's nothing like there's days where you don't get any strikeouts, but you throw up a zero. There's days where you may strike out the side, but give up a couple runs. I'm there just to like just help the team win. That's it. Um, I feel like if you're in the team and you're around the guys and they understand that, just being there to win, that's all you can do. I'm not going out there searching for anything. I'm just going out there to give my offense, defense, like everyone, just a fair chance at a win for the day.
So do you take like any, I guess I guess do you take any like wins? I don't know how to word this, but like, you're one of the guys. I guess for example, like I was kind of digging through some stats, and you have one of the highest spin rates in all of baseball that I guess qualified last year in 2024, that threw at least like 50 pitches or something, I think it was. So your four seam fastball has an average spin rate, and I think it's the seventh highest in the league. Or no, you had the highest four seam fastball spin rate in the league, and I think you were seventh highest with the slider spin rate. Is that things that you like kind of look at, and does that like factor into anything for you, or are you not really paying attention to any of that?
I don't really pay attention to it. It's how I've always known I've had a higher spin rate, able to spin the ball well. I guess when it comes down to it, it's how efficient and like all the axis stuff and actually being able to make it move. So I don't like try to do anything more than what I can do to spin it or anything. It's just kind of how it naturally comes out of my hand.
Yeah, that's I feel like it's just a God-given trait, man. It's it's one of those things that you can't really teach it, I guess. I guess you can, but if that's the case, man, that's incredible. All right. I got two questions left actually, and I'm gonna let you go. But so you had mentioned earlier that the Marlins entering the season, you have a little bit of a younger group, might be a little more hungry. It's definitely like a lot of youth on the roster. And for you, with your role in the bullpen ending the last season, are you looking forward to potentially having like a pretty big role on the major league bullpen this year? I mean, I feel like that's something that, wasn't really in the cards until 2024 rolled around. So it's got to be a little different feeling for you, like going into 25, just being like in a different spot on the 40-man roster, things like that. So are you looking forward to I guess, the enhanced role this year?
I honestly haven't even thought about the role or anything like that. My goal is just to um, obviously try to make the team and just help them win in any way I can. That's just I'm not like yeah, no, I mean that's all where my like mentality is right now is just to help the team in any way I can.
And so I'll end it on this one. So we talked in earlier in the show that you obviously had a lot of different changes go on in 2024. You had you changed organizations, you made your MLB debut, you kind of got settled into the new org. If you had to look back at 2024 and I guess ask yourself like what did you take away from that year? What did you learn about yourself in 24? What do you think that would be?
Hmm. Just that, I mean, that I had like, being able to make that debut and everything. I just like what I learned. It was just like that my patience paid off, that I just need to keep trusting the process no matter what. Um, and I feel like also to just to, again, like listen and be open. When I got over to the Miami, I hadn't thrown my splitter in a while and everything. And they're the ones that I remember like they were just talking to me about bringing it back and stuff. And so on my debut day, I remember throwing my splitter for the first time probably in like 2 or 3 months and ended up being a really good pitch for me. So yeah, just keeping my mind open and just being again that all that patience paid off. And I feel like now going throughout life, it's like things don't always happen the way you want it to be, but as long as you're enjoying your days and trying your hardest, anything can happen like that.
Yeah, I think that's well said. I brought up something earlier, and I did want to end it on this actually. How much do you miss kicking field goals?
Um, I wasn't the best field goal kicker. I always got a little nervous. I just did the long field goals. I do miss throwing on some pads though, and being able to hit some people. Every once in a while, being able to kind of hit around a little bit. But no, I do miss it. I have a lot of memories, really good memories from college, and we had a really good team at the time. And I do miss a lot of the like coaches and players and just that kind of energy. It's much different when you have a build up for one game a week kind of thing, and it's more of a war going out there like mentally, physically, putting everything out on the line. So it is definitely different. But I am enjoying. I like baseball a little bit better because I'm just more involved and more frequently.
Yeah. What's your career long for a field goal?
I in practice it was 68, and then I
Whew.
think I hit like a somewhere in the 40s, maybe low 50s in a game. I'm not totally sure what it was at.
Okay. Well, I'll take it to the grave, man. I think field goal. I think just kickers in general, NFL kickers is probably one of the hardest jobs in the world. It's you. You're always under the microscope. You can't hide. You miss one of those, man. I mean, I mean, it's just not a fun place for kickers these days, man.
Yeah, having like one kick, it's much more. It's like having a full inning. It's like where you get 15 tries kind of thing. It's so yeah, no, it's definitely different.
Yeah, I'll always say it. I know quarterback is probably the hardest position in all sports. I hear it all the time, but I'm like, dude, those kickers, man, bless their hearts. All right, Lake, I appreciate all the time. Obviously, wishing you best of luck as games kick around here in spring, and you obviously get on your way in 2025. But thank you so much for hopping on.
Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it.